Advent is a season of waiting, and lately I've spent a lot of time in waiting rooms. And in the past, I probably would have been pretty flustered and worried about what was going to happen next and if I would make my next appointment, which is pretty typical for most people to feel this way in our really busy culture. Many of us can relate to this feeling even if we're not in a doctor's office. For instance, if you're waiting for a test result or a new job offer, the Christmas presents to arrive, even just waiting for the light to turn green while you're driving. We're all conditioned to be thinking about the next thing. And I don't think God really wants us to do that as much as we do. Because Advent is a season of waiting, we need to realize it's not supposed to be impatient and anxious and flustered waiting, but introspective waiting as well. Unfortunately, I've had to be pushed into this introspective waiting a little more this past year because of my husband's medical condition, and I've spent a lot of time in waiting rooms. But I recommend that you bypass the waiting rooms and just try to practice your own introspective waiting on your own. It's important, I think, that we practice patience, prayer, and hope while you live in the moment, and learn to truly realize how important it is to wait and slow down, think and reflect about what God has given us and our blessings, even if it's just for a few moments every day, even if it's just at the stoplight. I want to briefly focus a little more on hope, because being in the oncology waiting rooms as much as I have been, the air is thick and sadness is pretty heavy there. And many times people would come up and talk to me in the waiting room. I must have had that look on my face that people wanted to come up and talk. And one woman described her journey these past 5 years with her tumor being removed like 3 times and how it's affected her physically and mentally. But throughout her story, she always came across with hope in her message. And on a different day, there was an older couple who I happened to be standing nearby to them, and he gave his wife a big hug and turned to me and said, "She's in remission. After 5 years of hoping and waiting, she's in remission." And so they were going out for a celebratory lunch that day. Advent is a time to let go of frustrations, worry, and anxiety that go along with preparing for the season, but to remember patience, joy, and hope in the waiting and celebrating of Christ's birth.